Hi everybody, it's TJ here. In today's video, I want to talk about something that can be a really big concern for those of us on the single mother by choice path, and that's how to handle it when your child starts to realize that the other kids have a dad and they don't. So I'm going to share with you how I handled that once my daughter hit the age where she started to realize that. So for those of you who don't know me, my name's TJ. I'm a single mother by choice, a solo mum to 2 kids. The oldest is now 3.5, and on this channel we call her Little Star, and my youngest has recently turned 1, and on this channel we call him Baby Elf. And I had them both using donor sperm and also donor eggs because I'm an older mom. I had my first at 48, I had my second at 51, oh my goodness. And they're both adorable, divine children, and I'm very, very grateful I had them. I feel like the luckiest woman on earth. Okay, so I made a video about 1.5 years ago, I think, when Little Star was about 2. She had just turned 2. At that point, she started calling me Daddy and Mummy interchangeably. You can see that video here. And I think what happened was she was watching a lot of Bluey at the time, and she just kept hearing Dad, Mum, in the show. And so I don't think she understood that there was any difference in these two terms. So she just started calling me Dad, calling me Mum. Dad, can you bring this? Mum, can you give me this? Daddy, Mummy. And it was very funny, but it didn't really mean anything because to her, I think they both just meant parent, person who looks after me, person who loves me. So it didn't bother me, and it was actually quite funny. She would call me Daddy in public, and I just laugh. I just laugh it off. People would just laugh. Like it didn't really mean anything. She didn't have any understanding at that age that there was a difference between a daddy and a mummy, and that she had one and not the other. She just heard these two terms for parent. So that was fine. But then when she was, I can't remember exactly when it was because it's a while ago, and I really should have made this video 1 year ago, but I've been so busy because I had a baby that I kept thinking I've got to make a video about this daddy thing, and I just didn't get around to it till now. So that's why I can't remember exactly what age she was. So maybe she was 2 years and 8 months or 2 years and 9 months old. So it was 2 or 3 months after he was born. She had been going to daycare at that point for about 8 or 9 months because she started when she was 2. And what happened was she started to see the kids at daycare get picked up by their dads. Because I live in I don't live in a city, I live in a kind of community, rural-based area, and it's just not as driven a culture where everyone's in desk jobs and corporate jobs. So, the mums can pick up their kids, the dads can pick up their kids. I think what happened was she started seeing, like, at the end of the day, all these daddies coming and picking their kids up. The kids were always saying, "Hi, Dad," and jumping into their arms, and they get taken out to the car. I don't know. I'm assuming that's what happened, because one day she just came home out of the blue, never said this before, and she says to me, "I don't have a daddy." And I got a real shock. I was like, whoa, she's realized she doesn't have a dad and the other kids have a dad. What do I do? What do I do? And I said, just stay calm. She doesn't seem to be upset about it. So this is the thing, you've got to listen underneath the words. You've got to look at, what is your child feeling? Are they upset about this? Are they confused about this? Are they angsting about this? Or are they just making an observation like, I don't have red hair? And that's what it felt like to me. But I monitored it. And so for a couple of months, every time she'd come home from daycare, she only went 2 days a week, she'd come home always after daycare because that's when she'd just seen the dads picking the kids up. And she'd say, I don't have a daddy. And this is how I would handle it. I'd say, no, you don't. You have a mummy. Or I'd say, no, you don't. You have a mummy and a little brother. Or I'd say, no, you don't. You have a mummy, and you have a grandpa, and you have a little brother. And then after a couple of months of that, she would come home and she'd say, I don't have a daddy. I only have a one mummy. I don't have a daddy. I only have a one mummy and a little brother and a cat. She just took that in as her story. And then as time went by and she got a bit older, then we would play with it a bit. She'd come home and say, I don't have a daddy. I go, no, but you have an amazing mummy. And she'd go, yeah, I have an amazing mummy. So now that's the joke. She'll come home. She doesn't do it much anymore. She's 3.5 now. She hasn't probably said this for 6 months. But in that 6-month period when she was saying it, as we got closer to the end of that period, she would start being quite funny with it. She'd say, I don't have a daddy. I only have one mummy, but she's a wonderful mummy. And I think it was actually a really good phase that she went through, because during that whole 6-month period, I was talking to her a lot about different kinds of families. I wouldn't just say our family. I'd say, and so-and-so who we know, they've also only got one mummy and no daddy. Or so-and-so that we know, they've got 2 daddies. Or so-and-so that we know, they don't have a grandpa. And she would often bring up like the name of a child. There was a particular child in the daycare who I think made a big impression on her because she was kind of a big, tall, funny, charismatic child. And I suspect she has a big, charismatic father too, who probably comes in and sweeps her up in her feet. Because she would come home and she'd say, I don't have a daddy. Finley has a daddy. So when we got to the Finley has a daddy phase, I would always say, but Finley doesn't have a little brother, does she? Finley has a daddy and a mummy. And you have a mummy and a little brother. And so I just keep my voice completely neutral. Yes, Finley has a daddy and you have a brother. And just like normalizing it. And over that period of 6 months, she's just came to realize, oh, I don't have a dad. I have a brother. I have a grandpa. I have a cat. I have a mum, an awesome mum. And then she stopped saying it. Like she understood. She gets it now. It's okay. And she's now 3.5, so she doesn't understand things a lot more. And she sees it on Bluey. Bluey and Bingo have a daddy and a mummy. Little Star knows she has a mummy. It's not, I only have a mummy. Oh, there's no loss in the sentence. It's just a statement of fact. I have blonde hair. I have a mummy and a brother. Finley has blonde hair. She has a mummy and a daddy. Like it's just a statement of fact. And I think it's really important at this age when they don't have any emotion about it because they don't really understand it. They don't yet know the implications. They don't know anything. They're just learning how the world works. Whereas if you bring your emotion into it, you could cause some real damage here. Like if you're feeling, oh, I feel so bad, she doesn't have a father. I wish I could have done this with a partner. And why did I have a baby by myself? Oh my God, I'm going to traumatize my child. If you bring that into it when your child comes home and goes, I don't have a daddy. You go, oh no, darling, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to give you a dad. It's okay. I know it's really upsetting that you don't have a daddy, but you're going to be okay. Mommy loves you. And you do all that. You're bringing all this emotion into something that for them is just like saying, Mommy, I don't have red hair. It's just a statement of fact. And now you're bringing all this angst into the field, all this emotion into the field, all this confusion into the field. This child's going to pick up on your feelings. The child's going to start to think, geez, I don't have a dad. And they're going to get alarmed about it because you're alarmed about it. Whereas if you're just neutral and just treat it as, well, they've just suddenly realized there's this thing called dads and some people have them and I don't. Just like, I want an ice cream right now. Finley's eating an ice cream. I don't have an ice cream. Can I have an ice cream? No, darling, you can't have an ice cream. I know Finley's having an ice cream, but you can have this cookie instead, or you can have this piece of toast. It's just like, it's neutral. If you keep it neutral, there's no charge in it. They're not going to be distressed by it. They're just going to know, okay, this is how my world is. This is my family. This is where we live. These are the people who love me. And it takes out all of the angst. Because don't worry, angst will come later. I'm sure there will come a time when my daughter comes to me and is genuinely sad that she doesn't have a father, or she just wishes she had a second person in her life. Maybe she'll get worried that I'm going to die one day and she doesn't have another parent. Or maybe she'll just wish she had a male figure in her life she was close to. Who knows what she's going to feel? I can't predict it. She might never feel any of that. She might just be her whole life totally grateful that she has an awesome mum and a fantastic brother and a great grandfather and cousins. And she just might not feel that. I don't know. I can't predict it. All I can do is respond to her in real time. And if she's coming to me with real emotions and upset over it, then I will, of course, hold that and I will give her empathy. Oh, darling, I'm so sorry you're feeling sad. Tell me how you're feeling. I get that. That makes total sense. I totally see why you're so sad. Of course, darling, it's a really hard thing to have to live with. You know, like I will give her empathy. I will give her understanding. I will give her validation. I will make her feel heard. But if she just comes in and says a statement of fact, like, I don't have a daddy, I'll go, no, you don't. You got a mummy and a cat and a brother. And that's what I just want to convey in this video, how I handled it, because I feel proud of how I handled it, because she's just sailed through that period. She understands her family structure now. She doesn't have any drama about it. She doesn't have any upset about it. And hopefully I can handle the next expressions of this with as much grace as I did that one. Who knows? It might be harder when she's older. But at least for this phase, I feel like I answered it well. And I just wanted to pass that on. I have written a couple of guidebooks about issues like this that come up when you're a single mother by choice and how to handle them. How to talk to your child about being donor conceived when it gets to the point where you're having those real conversations, how to talk to other people about the fact that your child doesn't have a father, how to handle it on Father's Day, how to deal with potential donor siblings who may have come from the same sperm donor. So they have a sperm donor, but they don't have a father. Like, how do you deal with all of that? I've put a lot of thought and a lot of time into writing these guidebooks, giving you lots of suggestions, lots of different ways of thinking about it, lots of reassurance. And lots of strategies for how to handle all of this. So if you are having any concerns at all about this choice of having a child without a father, please go and read those guidebooks. And over here are some other videos I've made about my journey as a single mother by choice. I'm wishing you so much love, so much baby dust.